with Robinson going up against very few highly ranked opponents on his way to the national title, but national champion nevertheless. Already has a 1 loss on the year. And then Brendan McCrone in that position battle. Very different style than Nick Buesgens. How do you feel he matches up particularly with Robinson?
Well, with Robinson, there's a lot of explosiveness. There's a lot of quickness. Those that have had success against Brendan McCrone have had success by getting to the legs and finishing quickly. If you get into scrambles with McCrone, you're playing his game. If you go underneath, if you're on bottom, you're playing his game. Brendan McCrone is so tough on top. But, unless somebody chooses bottom to get to top, you've got to get a takedown. And for McCrone, he's had a lot of success getting to legs over the years against top-tier opponents. Finishing when he gets in on the legs has been the difference between success and failure. Now Robinson is deep in on a leg, but not a clean finish right from the get-go, so now the scramble is on. And we'll see how McCrone does here. You see already through the crotch, looking to maybe cut the corner, sitting heavy on the head. Robinson just wants to keep that forward pressure going. And now he's got his head high. And McCrone is so good in these scrambles. Gets that head right back down to the mat. Continues that crotch lift, but he pulled him on top. Now the scramble with Robinson trying to peek the head out the side. These are situations, and you see them obviously more at the lightweights than you do at the heavyweight. We're going to get a stalemate there called by Angel Rivera, our head official tonight. Ray Santiago, the assistant official, off to the side of the mat. But those are the areas right there where McCrone wants to be to try and get his points in this match.
That was what his head coach Tom Ryan was talking. What you're just saying, getting into scrambles and winning scrambles is going to be key if he's going to get the upset here against Vinnie Robinson.
Well, and there's exactly what we were talking about. Robinson got to the legs and got a pretty clean finish, and that has been where Robinson has been so good. Took him to a national championship. You don't get much higher than that. And McCrone has also had some weaknesses, fending off good, quick leg attacks.
I'm going to be interested to see how this plays out with McCrone. He's undefeated entering today, including against his teammate, Nick Buesgens.
And 125 is certainly an open position for the Ohio State Buckeyes. And I say open. There are several 125-pounders on this roster. It's a battle of two. Not everybody is in there, although there are good guys in that room that may start for other D1 NCAA teams. But with McCrone, and as you mentioned, he won the head-to-head matchup against Buesgens when they wrestled during the regular season. It was a one-point match. It's teammates that see each other in the room every single day. That's not always the best indication of who the best wrestler is. A lot of times it is, but not always. And so you've seen Buesgens, and he's been at 133 pounds his career until this year, dropping down to 125. But McCrone has had wins against very high-level guys. But he's also had some losses that kind of make you scratch your head a little bit about what his ceiling is. For Buesgens, he's had some good wins as well, but at 133, there were things where you thought, what's he going to have to do to take that next step for consistency to really establish himself? Both of these guys are big 125-pounders, McCrone and Buesgens. They both cut hard, and they're different body types as well. Brendan McCrone is so long and lanky, and Robinson's the same way. These body styles are pretty similar here, and Buesgens is more compactly built, a little bit more powerful. And now you've got McCrone on top. This is exactly where he wants to be. He is a sponge on top. Robinson wants to get a quick escape here. And now we are into a scramble, and Robinson in a pretty good spot if he can free that leg. He got to his feet quickly. McCrone tried that standing cradle, wanted to roll through. He is really good with his cradles. And we're going to get a stall call here on McCrone. That's not necessarily the worst thing in the world for McCrone to get that stall call. You don't want to get hit for stalling, but it gives him a restart on top, which is where he wants to be. If that situation played itself out farther, it's more likely that Robinson scores, gets back to his feet, than McCrone is able to get the turn there. So this is actually giving up the stall caution is probably a win for McCrone. And that was a caution for a false start.
I was going to say, to your point, McCrone, he does. If he can get on someone, get on top, that's where he wants to be. That's where he's at his best, and that's where he's going to have his best chance against Robinson. And national champion a year ago.
Well, and Robinson has McCrone scouted. because immediately off the whistle, his hands went in tight to catch that leg coming in. McCrone wants to ride legs. Everybody knows it. And Robinson did a really good job of fighting that leg initially, and now he's going to turn it into a reversal. And that's just knowing your opponent. And listen, everybody knows McCrone does that. He gets legs in a lot and turns a lot of people. So what's the difference? Winning that battle.
I can just see just the poise, too. That was what his head coach had said before the match we visited with him, that when he competes, Vincent Robinson, he brings a ton of confidence. And you can only imagine how much it's grown in the training since that national championship. And he knows he's going to get everyone's best match against him. And right now he's got the best of Brendan McCrone.
And looking for another takedown. McCrone trying to fight it off there, just couldn't quite do it. Robinson, you know, as we were talking to both coaches, talking about the quickness, the explosiveness, and the power. You don't often talk about power at 125 pounds, but relative to body size, Vincent Robinson is a strong 125-pounder.
He's been in complete control here, too, the first two periods, which was one of the keys for NC State. They had just nightmare. They woke up with some, like, cold sweats after remembering what Ohio State did to them with the lightweights last time, getting out pins in a row. And Robinson slamming the door thus far. McCrone way down.
Yeah, that's a big first period. Jumping out to an 8-2 lead. Now, you feel good about that. You're up 6 points, and now you go to the third period where McCrone's going to have to get a takedown to get to top. McCrone on top is dangerous, right? Robinson did a good job on the 2 starts, not letting the legs come in. Now for McCrone, you've got to get to your offense. You've got to find a takedown to get on top. If you can't turn, you're going to need several takedowns here.
Where would you go if you're McCrone?
Well, you've got, and that's been one of the questions, right? What is the bread and butter attack to get to when you know you need a takedown? And for McCrone, that's been one of the challenges in his career, is finding that thing. Now, right now, it looks like he's trying to pick up the pace a little bit and maybe put Robinson on his heels, maybe by a stall call. But when you're down 6 points, even in the 3-point takedown era, you're looking at, if you just want to go takedowns here, you've got to get 3 of them.
That's it? That's all?
Seems like a tall task indeed. And now the hill gets steeper.
Yeah, Robinson on the pounce. I said when he scores, he can accumulate points fast, quick attacking, and he's done just that.
Down to just 35 seconds to go. Now, if you're McCrone, you gotta let it fly. You gotta look for something big here. Feet to back. You're outside of that margin, really, of even a feet to back move gives you 7 points, and that's not going to cut the mustard right here. You got to put him to his back and hold him there and put his shoulders down.
Yeah, it seems like McCrone, every question he's had, every trial he's made, Robinson's had the answer. With 10 seconds to go. NC State issues a statement to start. Now, that might have been the expected result with the champion, the number 1 in the country, but Brendan McCrone unable to be much of a match for Vincent Robinson.
That's a major decision for Vincent Robinson. He controlled this really from the get-go.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
20 seconds here left in the first period. It's kind of a slow start for both wrestlers, feeling out process, but Davino asserted himself there with the takedown. And this is a guy that, I mean, as much as everybody loves Jesse Mendez here at Ohio State and what he does for this program, one of the things you always think about is who's next? Who's the next leader here? Who's the next big dog? Well, you got a pretty good candidate on the mat right here, right now. I've stopped into practice in preparation for our last duel here, and Jesse Mendez holds the middle of the mat. This training facility, the Jennings Center here at Ohio State, fantastic training facility, the envy of almost everybody in college wrestling. And there are 5 mats in there, and every wrestling room you walk into, the wrestlers have their spot on the mat. And Mendez is right dead center. And just outside of his spot is this guy, Ben Davino. And I asked Jesse, how long did it take Davino to get to the center mat? He said he walked in day one and set up shop there. And basically, when you walk in the room and do that, you're daring people, kick me out of here, right? Get the takedowns, get the things to get me out of the center mat, make me earn my way back in. Well, he's still there.
Well, you see his approach to wrestling, too. When Tom Ryan said that some guys, you just do it because you can. You do it because you have the ability to do it. You might not have the desire to go out and take on the top competition, but that's not Ben Davino. Ben Davino loves wrestling, and if you're going to make the statement of what you just said, go right to the middle and then stay there, you have to love that fight because guys are going to try to knock you out.
And we talked about NC State being the class of the ACC. There's a hands to the face right now, warning there from the referee. And NC State has been the cream in the ACC, no doubt about it. Ohio State wrestling in the Big Ten, it's a different environment. And they have been near the top of the Big Ten and the nation for year after year. One thing that has been consistent with Ohio State, they've had that guy, that guy that everybody kind of looks to as the man, whether it's one of the guys in the coaches, couple of guys in the coaches' chairs down there. As a matter of fact, Jay Jagger certainly was that, 2-time national champion. Logan Stieber right down there as well, a 4-time national champion. Then you go to Sammy Sasso here for so many years, and now it's Jesse Mendez. And maybe Ben Davino can be the next guy in that line.
We're going to see NC State has one of those types of guys we'll see later at 165.
No doubt.
The true freshman, Will Denny.
Davino here trying for his second takedown of the match. He's got that leg elevated. Well, roll through attempt there, but Davino's got the cradle locked up. Referee sees it. There's the takedown. Now, can he turn that cradle into back points? Yes. Can he turn back points into a fall? That'll be the question. We got a stoppage.
Right at
blood?
The end of the period.
The period ended, and I think we've got blood as well.
Saved by the bell and maybe the nose. So tall task, though, for Reading with Davino. It seemed like the second period. It just went. That was his game. It was his match.
Yes.
Reading 1 for 4 in duels this year.
Well, Reading coming in from Iowa State. I mean, it's another quality program. The Buckeyes will take on Iowa State a little bit later on this month. But he comes here, and you talk about the fact that they're trying to settle on this weight class. Hohman ranked number 31. They've been kind of swapping back and forth. Hohman's had the better results so far, but Reading's got an awful lot of experience as a grad student here.
And 2-time NCAA made 2 NCAA appearances back in 21 and 23.
And again to the face there, Davino kind of looking at the referee. Had one warning in this match already, so the next one would be a point.
The 6th year trying to make a statement against the redshirt freshman. Because Ready now there's has to make a big move, and Davino's been so tough.
Davino's been on the attack most of the match, and now Reading, obviously with time running down, has to pick up the pace a little bit. Davino's not easy to score on, so that's a tall task certainly. And right now, no riding time as a factor. It's a 6-point match. That no near fall, that's the difference right now between a bonus point and not having a bonus point.
Saved by the clock.
You can see Davino there trying to make that last push for a takedown to get back into bonus territory. Not quite able to make it, but he comes out victorious regardless.
The first win of the duel for Ohio State has kind of gone chaka right now for the most part, with NC State getting the first win, Ohio State now, and we'll see what's coming up at 141. What's going to be key for Jack here? Because it seems so hard to unlock the puzzle that is Jesse Mendez.
Well, that's the thing. You've got to have a perfect game plan, and you have to execute it perfectly, and you have to hope that you can find a crack in the armor that isn't often there against Mendez. You've got to go with what you do well, and that was a really good duck there. He just kind of disappeared on Mendez as Mendez forward pressure kind of took him over top of Jack. But there again, if there was a crack in the armor, maybe it was there, but it closed so quickly with Mendez regaining his position, feeling everything exactly where he needed to field it, that sort of thing, when you have almost zero margin for error, it can almost be demoralizing. Okay, because you don't even realize until the moment's gone, right? Oh man, I was underneath. I changed my level at the perfect time. I just wasn't able to get that outside leg up, turn the corner, and turn it into either a takedown or a scramble situation where I could have gotten to it. And now Mendez is right back in a good position.
I think, how many times has that happened to Ryan Jack, too, where it's there, but so fleeting?
This is an unkind sport because you can do everything right. You can be right on the cusp, but if you don't win, I mean, wrestling basically it comes down to wins and losses. There are very few moral victories on a wrestling mat. But now Jack in on a shot pretty deep. Mendez has actually given up a takedown here at the Covelli Center this year, a couple of matches ago. And, well, he didn't take kindly to it and wound up with a tech fall at the end of that.
He bounced. I thought it was interesting talking to Tom Ryan, asking him what makes Jesse Mendez so special. And he pointed out two things. One, his discipline, which is almost a superpower for him. The other one is his great capacity to suffer.
Well, now he wants to make Jack suffer. He got that takedown, immediately kicked Jack out to go back to his feet. This is a psychological tactic as much as anything else. Could he ride? Could he turn? Maybe, but that's not the game plan. The game plan is, I just took you down. I'm immediately going to let you out, letting you know that I do not fear you on our feet at all.
Yeah, Tira, take your point. We'll do this again.
And immediately had forward pressure, taking Jack to the out-of-bounds line. Well, you know, what you were talking about there, the discipline, the mindset of Jesse Mendez. You know, I've been on the call for a lot of these matches with Ohio State, being here in Columbus. Very fortunate to work here with BTN Plus. I've called Jesse the dead-eyed killer an awful lot. And now he's got that outside, well, he had the outside cradle lock. Now looking for that far ankle for the takedown on the edge. Doesn't have it yet. Crowd wants it. He's trying to bring Jack back in. There's the three for the takedown. Mendez almost is out there like he doesn't have a heartbeat. The moment is never too big. He is calm. He is moving forward. He is just focused on the task at hand. And I would venture to guess that right now Jesse Mendez doesn't know there's a soul in this building.
He's just out hit there, fly fishing the Olentangy. Don't recommend it this time of year, but Jesse Mendez, when the weather gets cold and the mat heats up, he does his work, and he leads 6-1.
It's a really good dominant period there for Mendez, and for Jack, it's a tall hill right now. We talked about that earlier, that, you know, every takedown you get, you know, we're going to start with Jack on bottom, and Mendez showed the referee an optional start sign. And so he's going to give Jack his point, but he's going to make him earn it with some pressure. And again, that's psychological wrestling. I'm not just going to show the referee neutral and let you stand up on your feet. I'm going to give you your takedown, but you're going to have to earn it. And now he is turning on the Jets. Mendez wants to put on a show here tonight and leave no doubt against a top 6 opponent.
Ohio State made that statement earlier this year at the national duels, and Mendez on the prowl.
That takedown, I mean, it was a go-behind in essence, but that takedown was just a bull takedown. He just grabbed his man, kind of went behind, but then just snapped him straight down to the mat and just wants to impose his will upon his opponent here, and he does. And that takedown makes it a second period tech fall for Jesse. They went out of bounds. I was behind on the score. I thought that takedown was going to get it to 15.
It's close.
That's right. Jesse pulled I thought he was still in bounds there when the referee blew the whistle. I got ahead of myself on the score. Now it's a 10-point match, so you're looking at 2 takedowns for a tech fall for Mendez yet. And Jack diving in on a leg, just trying to slow this down a little bit.
Give him a chance to breathe a little bit.
Well, Mendez isn't going to have it.
No,
that's just another force takedown. Just feed hips all the way through your opponent. Break him down, break his grip, break his will.
I mentioned his demeanor's like he's fly fishing, where he's like a boa constrictor. To a roar at Cavelli, Jesse Mendez, the best in the country at 141. Mr. Buckeye, dominant.
That was taking somebody to school.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Stiles starting on bottom, looking to do the first scoring of the match. Cut back there from Buesgens. Now for Stiles here, you just need to keep moving. But because, we talked about his scrambling ability. Now he's put himself in maybe a bad spot here. He was trying to step over both of those legs, over Buesgens' top leg, and he almost put himself in a spot to get turned. But there was enough looseness in there that he slipped out, now leading by a 1-0 score.
Took almost 4 minutes to get our first point. But Ethan Stiles, compared to a cat when he's in a scramble, he's just so nimble.
Some guys just have that thing, that body awareness, that as much as you train, there are some people that are just born with a different sense of where they are in space and what's around them. And those tend to be the best scramblers. You can practice, you can drill, and these guys all do. They put themselves in these positions on a daily basis. Every wrestler at the D1 level and, going down to the high school level, you train for those things. But some guys just have that little bit extra where they can kind of feel where a body is going, not where it's at. And that's oftentimes the difference between scoring and not.
Well, we've seen that a couple times here at Buesgens when it feels like he's got him in a key spot, and then Stiles just wiggles his way out.
Now there in the first period, there was an awful lot of scrambling. Here in the second, it's slowed to a snail's pace.
Buesgens 5-0 in duels so far this year. Ethan Stiles 4-0. So something has to give in this very tight battle here at 149.
Buesgens takes down to try and even this thing up with an escape. If you're Stiles, Stiles can turn. How committed he'll be to this ride, we'll have to wait and see. Riding time right now is a non-factor. And it will remain so.
All even.
First period, there were a lot of level changes and shots. In the second period, here so far in the third, it's been a lot of heavy hands and getting into ties.
It almost seems like it's the reverse of when you feel out your opponent. They start off the fireworks, and now they're trying to figure out
There's a good shot from distance from Buesgens, but now we'll see if Stiles can turn that scramble into points.
And this is, on paper at least, the legend of Stiles. This is where he's at his best. He's able to avoid that first little thrust there from Buesgens.
Now Buesgens, does he have that cradle locked up?
This is close, though. Oh, look at this.
No points awarded yet. And they are going to get into the danger count now. There's the takedown for Buesgens. Stiles, though, if he can hip over, could be in a good spot. Challenge brick comes in from NC State. They're going to want back points here. I don't think we've had a reversal awarded for Stiles yet. We have to have. I didn't see it come from the official, a reversal awarded.
Now it'll be stopped.
Scoreboard still says 4-1.
But it did. It looked like Buesgens got the takedown, and then Stiles immediately flipped it into a takedown for himself. That's what it appeared, and here it is.
There's a roll through. I mean, obviously this is a huge call in this match. Had it gone the other way, had it been a takedown and reversal, look out now. They're going to be, that's a bad back bend. And there's a reversal for Buesgens, but Stiles was able to get the leg out before time expired.
Two points too late.
Had it been a takedown and reversal the other way, then the match goes the other way because a takedown worth 3, a reversal only worth 2. But as it turns out, Stiles gets the win. Scrambling is exactly what it came down to.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
On the Flow Wrestling rating, one of the counter arguments would be that Ohio State, now they've had the big wrestling opponents. They've been able to get those matches against ranked teams. Penn State hasn't yet, but the theory is, well, it's coming. They're going to be up there at one point. But Ohio State, a loud statement, especially by Cannon.
Well, funky scramble here. Cannon's able to peel that arm off the ankle. There's the takedown. But Cannon, it's just dangerous from everywhere.
Ranked number 4 in this class.
Yeah, he's got that leg ride in. He's just going to finish the period out on top, just putting his weight on his opponent, try and take some of the starch out of the socks of Jackson Arrington heading into the second period.
So 3-0, and Brandon Cannon leads after the first. Now, question here for Arrington. It's just 3, but how would you recommend he approach this second period? He's going to start on top.
Well, that's going to depend on how comfortable he is in the top position. If he's got a ride, if he's got a turn, well, you can get 4 points on a turn. Cannon hasn't been ridden much. A roll through there, and Cannon, there's where he's dangerous. Able to catch that head. There's a reversal and some back points. Did he get him or not?
Not yet.
Did not get the 2 swipes from the referee. He got 1, but he also gets the 2 points for the reversal.
He might got 1 1/4.
And we talked about it earlier. The feel of a wrestler, knowing where your body's going, not necessarily where it is right now. Cannon's got it.
We mentioned in the very first match of the evening with Vincent Robinson, just the confidence that he had, where it seemed like anything McCrone was going to try, Robinson knew he had an answer to it. Here in this second period, that's what it feels like with Cannon.
One of the things that's been talked about a lot in recent years at the NCAA level and even at the high school level is wrestling free.
I hear it all the time.
Wrestling for the sake of wrestling, not looking for a win in this moment. You're wrestling to compete and just put yourself in good positions and wrestle free without pressure. And you can kind of see when a guy like Cannon gets that reversal the way that he did, he wasn't worried about, if I miss this, I may wind up getting put on my back. He went after it because it was there, and he's wrestling free.
We mentioned in the Mendez Jack, where the window will be there, but it's so small,
yes.
and you see when you're just relaxed as Cannon was. When he saw the window, boom.
Well, he didn't even see the window. He saw the window coming.
Ah, there you go. Yes. And right now,
he felt the possibility of a window.
And right now, he's got the possibility and the actuality of a 5-0 lead going to the third.
Yeah, if you see the window, you're too late. That window
That's true.
That window's closed.
That's true.
It's become a wall very quickly.
A neutral decision for Jackson Arrington. Needs to make something happen here.
In a situation where you're down 5-0, yeah, you'd love to get that escape point, but he hasn't shown the ability to get out from underneath Cannon. Boy, that's a great little crawl shot there from Cannon. He's got his man stretched out, wrist to that far ankle. And that inward pressure trying to turn it into a takedown. A good roll through there from Arrington, not giving up on the situation.
Arrington, his work ethic is outstanding. Just in the room 7 days a week, always battling, taking on some of the best guys at NC State. Great leaders as mentors. He's up against it, though, with Cannon.
Now you can work 7 days a week. You can go John and Paul and work 8 days a week. If you don't find a way to get things done, the results are not going to be there.
Into the red shirt junior. With a minute to go, they've seen more consistency out of him this year. This has been a tall task tonight. Cannon in peak form as he's been just steadily improving over the years, but this year just really incredible.
Well, and for Cannon, right now bonus points are within reach. Riding time is locked in, so right now it's a 9-1 lead in essence. So if you're Cannon, you have to make sure you don't give up any points here. If you score a takedown and secure it, so much the better.
Well, be it as it is, if nothing changes here, if Arrington doesn't get anything, this will be the largest win of the day thus far for Cannon. Oh, correction. Mendez was 21-6. Scratch everything I just said there, Ryan. Still, nevertheless, impressive by Cannon.
Well, he's still attacking. He wants those points. But attacking in a way that he's not necessarily putting himself at jeopardy. Because, again, a takedown is great, but you don't want to give up any points and lose that major decision.
Well, NC State didn't get a slow start, but Ohio State has dominated the end of the first half. So you go to halftime, 9-1 advantage for Brandon Cannon as he takes down Jackson Arrington. And right now, from 133 to here, it's been all Buckeyes. A win by major decision. And Ohio State leads 15-4.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Quick start there on Will Denny. Caution. Get 2 of those before it costs you a point. Now, if Gallagher can get his quick escape here, try to get to the offense, but that doesn't get you a match win. You're still going to have to find some offense somewhere.
And there it was. 7 seconds was the time it took for him to get that quick escape.
Heavy hands there from both wrestlers. Gallagher, his second shot attempt, both have come from distance with not much in the way of a setup.
For Gallagher, we mentioned the whole year he's had to prepare for the 165 weight, but he also, a big difference for him, he's been healthy this year too. Part of the struggles last year, he didn't get to really wrestle until December.
Probably going to see a stall call here pretty quick on Gallagher with the way Denny continues to make Gallagher wrestle with his heels on the edge of the mat. And Gallagher's doing a nice job. Trying to turn the table here, but Denny now has the leg near the out-of-bounds line. Gallagher has been wrestling at the edge, but he's done a nice job of not getting pushed out of bounds. Back to the center now.
They're almost beyond out of bounds. They're out of bounds, the out of bounds.
You get to that exposed floor, and that'll immediately bring a halt to the match.
Still 3-2.
Best penetration shot for Gallagher so far in this match. Denny almost got into danger there. There's the takedown for Gallagher.
I think it goes back to what we were watching earlier, is Gallagher just kind of buying his time with the youngster.
Well, now
as Denny gets away.
So that's big for Denny to score that escape with short time, because now Denny goes down in the third period and escapes. Now it's a tie match. Gallagher really wanted to ride that period out, but wasn't able to do so. Denny got his hips free and got his escape.
Well, the coaching staff for NC State, they rose in approval of that escape.
There again, Denny just trying to push his man out of bounds, and Gallagher did a nice job to circle and stay in, make sure there was no stall call against him. And now we go to the third and a 1-point match.
Yeah, this pivotal 165. You just look at what's coming up ahead for NC State, and there's going to be some matches coming up that are going to favor the Wolfpack, but they need to be able to keep it closer, whittle down this deficit. Denny in position to do so.
Well, and if you're Patty Gallagher, right now riding time is exactly even. If you can build a minute, well, then you can afford to give an escape. Looks like that's not going to happen.
He's going to give the escape anyway. All level at 5. Both these wrestlers, they've shown us something here in these first 6 minutes or so, 5 minutes.
Shot by Denny, and again near the out-of-bounds line. And there's going to be the stall call on Gallagher. But what he did in the first 2 periods to avoid that stall call is important, because right now, had he been hit earlier in the match, all of a sudden it's a lead for Denny. You really have to like, if you're seeing Will Denny wrestle for the first time, the confidence, the mat awareness, the acumen, this kid's got a bright future.
I think you just look at him, how his approach. What's your point? If you had to guess what class he is, the one you would not pick is freshman.
Right. True freshman.
Let alone true freshman.
Gallagher in on the shot, though. There's that level change I was talking about earlier. Great hip in there from Denny, though. Gallagher trying to let it not go out of bounds and finish the takedown. He's got both legs. No, he only had one. Now he's got the far leg, but not enough.
They're trying to pull him back in. Denny, and there it is.
Out of bounds is the call, and no stall warning. Action is the call from the referee. The crowd cannot believe it. They wanted not only a stall, but a fleeing the mat there. But Gallagher did what I was talking about earlier, using that inward pressure, changed his level and disappeared. There's we get to look at the replay. There's that flip out of bounds.
So it stays 5-5 to the disdain of this large crowd. And the elation of the NC State fans watching.
Absolutely.
Can't forget about them. Out in Raleigh and all over the country. Oh, look at this right at the end.
Time expires. Overtime coming your way.
Well, how about that? We said it was pivotal, Ryan, and if it's pivotal, overtime. So fitting. It almost feels like this is the match, too. Not only for here at 165, but overall.
Yeah, for NC State, if they want to get back into this thing, you know that they do, this is a must-have. Gallagher, on his last 2 shots, has used that inward pressure for a quick level change and penetration. He's done that twice in a row. We'll see what Denny has learned from that. Denny continues to push the pace. Pressing in near the out-of-bounds line, and out they go. And that's
a point for NC
the
State.
match.
Well.
Stall call on Patty Gallagher will give a point to Denny, and that's how the match ends. Will Denny has won the match, but not many fans here at the Covelli Center.
He might be a freshman, but he's got the edge, too.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Good enough on bottom. You anticipate both will be able to get their escape. How long is it going to take?
Singleton, he's going to get the first crack at that.
Singleton. Just enough forward pressure there to keep Kharchla on his hands. Kharchla with that power able to get back to his feet momentarily. A little tilt opportunity. Kharchla's shoulders not exposed, but now you've got a little hip separation, and he's going to try and go for two and get it.
There goes the 1-0. What a move there by Kharchla.
And a quick escape on the other side for Singleton, and so it is a 1-point match.
And remember, Singleton, he will have the opportunity to pick who's starting on bottom, try to get that equalizer.
Riding time not a factor here. Singleton was able to build up a little over 30 seconds before that reversal. Kharchla whittled it down to 27.
Singleton undefeated in duels this year. He's won 80% of his duels during his time at NC State. Native of Georgia.
Good shot, clean finish from Kharchla to go up now 5-1. That is the cleanest takedown finish we have seen so far in this duel. Excellent setup, good execution. And now Kharchla going up by 3 points with 15 seconds left in the second period. He doesn't have to score again in this match. He can hold his position, and that's one of the things that he is best at, just being in the right position at all times. He doesn't have to expose himself. He's gotten a reversal. He's gotten a takedown. But if Singleton goes bottom and gets off of the bottom, he is a takedown away from taking the lead back.
Well, a statement thus far by Kharchla on Ohio State. Feels like NC State's perfect scenario. They had to get those points. At 165, they did so. But 174 is one they felt very strong at. And right now, it's Ohio State that leads, and Singleton a little quick. Or caution against Ohio State, rather. Critical 2 minutes here for Matty Singleton and the Wolfpack. If not, Ohio State might be looking to do what they did to so many teams at the national duels.
Kharchla has the ability to ride against a lot of opponents, but he's not shown an ability to hold down Singleton so far today.
I said Singleton is so crafty, too.
Even after a reversal and the takedown, Singleton still has the riding time advantage, but that's just for the moment. 3 points for Kharchla on another quick level change and shot. He has been clean so far. And even though he didn't have to get another takedown, he saw that opening. And the veteran
saw the window before it was open, as we said a few matches ago.
Well, and that's good situational awareness. You know that your opponent's coming after you. You know that pressure is going to be in. And so if you can time up that pressure, you're in a good spot to score.
These are both All-Americans. Singleton finished 7th in the country a year ago. Kharchla looking to go to his 4th NCAAs this year, depending on how the rest of the year plays out.
Kharchla again with a shot. Extended a little bit, though. Not in a great spot to finish. 35 seconds left in this match. It'll take more than a takedown.
Going to take a couple shoulders placed to the mat. First time they've ever met.
20 seconds left now in the match, and this has been a pretty dominant. It's only a 4-point match, but for Kharchla,
dominant given the circumstances.
Yes, absolutely. 2
top 5 wrestlers. And Kharchla to a rising standing ovation. They call it their fight song here in Ohio State. It's the Buckeye Battle Cry, and that's what Kharchla unleashed against Matty Singleton. NC State's in some trouble.
Kharchla delivers in a big, big match in front of the home faithful at the Covelli Center. There's the flex. He is fired up and ready to go.
Yeah, from Ohio State's Tom Ryan's perspective, he said that emotion might not be your friend here. You want to be very workmanlike, wash that away. And that's for both sides, where Don Cates, his teammate with North Carolina State, Don Cates wasn't wrestling with the program in the summer. He had left the program. He was going to go work in the real world, as it was described. And then they called him to bring him back in, said, hey, we could use that 184. Don Cates said, I'm up for it.
Fishback looking for that takedown near the out-of-bounds line. The action continues as he is still in bounds, trying to fight it off.
And he's got his heel.
Now he's got the other. Oh, boy, nice job there from Cates to kick that leg back under, but I think Fishback's going to secure this thing here. There he does. That was interesting that, basically what Coach Papalizio said is we had to re-recruit him. Going out, you're starting your life post-college. I don't know how hard he had to be talked back into coming back to NC State to wrestle, but certainly it's a guy who made the decision in his career that, okay, my time here is done. Dylan Fishback's our 184, and then all of a sudden he wasn't, and the conversation changed.
And Cates, he used to wrestle at 165, so
yes,
that might have been part of the appeal was, well, you don't need to cut that much, and you get to come back and compete.
Good mat return there. Shane Sparks somewhere smiling from ear to ear.
And it sounded like a lot of a mutual respect on Fishback, where NC State, they said they wished him well. Glad he's doing well with Ohio State. I wish he wasn't true. They wish he wasn't doing as well right now.
Right. It's one of those things where you probably think, okay, as long as you're not wrestling a guy in our singlet, we're rooting for you.
However,
at this moment,
right now,
I have a different perspective.
The given time and date and location.
Well, after that win for Kharchla, Ohio State up in this dual meet pretty significantly. Favored here at 184, favored at 197, and then heavyweight by the rankings is a coin flip. So you're really going to have for NC State something break your way a couple of different times.
Yeah, they need some magic here. They really need something good to happen at 197 with the freshman Howe. What a two true freshmen competing for NC State. We saw what the first one did, which was pull out a victory and relish the boos, of which were plentiful. Fishback, a native of Ohio. From the Buckeye perspective, they thought NC State did a great job with them.
1 minute remains in the period. 1 minute.
Cates showing some life here, only down 2. Under a minute to go here in the first.
Again, Fishback looking for that takedown near the out-of-bounds line. He's got that there, getting that. There's the takedown. By being able to pressure in, he had that back ankle locked, but Cates still had it on the other side of his body. Fishback felt that and realized if you could have just enough forward pressure to run Cates over that leg and bring it out on the other side, he could get the takedown, and he had the room to do it.
I was thinking with the crowd reaction here, Cavelli's, if you haven't been here, is effectively a square. And so the boos and the larger calls were from the view where Cates' foot, which was still in the circle, was blocked from their view. So the side where they could see it, they were like, oh, he's still in there. But the other side was like, oh, come on.
Perspective really sneaks up on you.
It'll bite you.
A pretty dominant first period here for Fishback. Cates trying a little roll through there. Fishback has built his riding time up over a minute now with 15 seconds to go. He just wants to finish on top. right out this period and maintain that riding time and a 6-1 advantage. Looks like he'll get it done with a flatten out of Cates.
I'll tell you what, mission accomplished for Fishback. Dominant first period.
Fishback takes the down position. Couple of duels ago here against Kent State. Fishback was the man of the match, the MVP of the duel for the Buckeyes. 7-2 so far. And Cates with a mat return of his own. Not quite the elevation Fishback had in the first period. And because he's in a visiting single, he doesn't get the same kind of charge out of the crowd either. Fishback's going to get him to their hand clap due to his escape.
It's kind of interesting. You look at just what Fishback, considering the history with NC State, it felt like no one really knew what to expect out of this one. And what Fishback's put on display, and there's a few matches so far tonight where it's just been Ohio State has just been overwhelming. And barring some big change, there's quite a few teams that were highly ranked around the country that have been in the same spot NC State's found themselves in tonight.
Plenty of time left here in this match for Cates, but he's going to have to change something certainly because he's not really had anything resembling an offensive attempt.
If you could whisper in his ear and say, try this, what would you recommend?
Sprawl, because that was a really good shot there by Fishback to get in on the takedown. His third takedown of the night.
He's
that was a well-timed question, by the way.
Right. It's all about timing. It's like real estate. Location, location, timing, timing.
But, I mean, Sprawling's not going to win in the match, right? He's going to have to get to something offensive. First, he's got to get back to his feet here. He's down 9 points. That is a tall task, even with a 3-point takedown. But for Fishback, he's the one. You go back to that match at 165 pounds. Will Denny for NC State did a great job from the opening whistle, creating forward pressure, putting Patty Gallagher on his heels. Fishback has done that here, not with the same kind of drive, just with his positioning of having Cates not have any ability to get to some kind of offense.
And almost 2 minutes of ride time for Fishback through 2 periods. Right now, just overmatching his old teammate, Don Cates.
Cates takes down because you need the points. I mean, right now, riding time it's not locked in, but it's getting close. And so you may even have to concede a riding time point, but you've got to get every point that you can.
That's not an enviable position to be in. Trying to equal out riding time by getting an escape.
No, it's not. And, there are, the metrics.
Almost.
Tried to kick away, but Fishback did a really nice job there changing his level and getting back in on the leg. And does he have that Turk in? Trying to turn those shoulders as well to get some back points. But right now, again, that riding time is up to 2:25, and now it's locked in. And again, you're in a position here if you're Fishback. You don't have to change anything right now. You can keep that Turk. Well, it looks like it slipped out now. But again, you're in a position where you can continue to ride hard here. You've done your job if you're Dylan Fishback. You've put 3 takedowns on the board. You've got your riding time. There's 1:04 left in this match. And your opponent hasn't shown the ability to stop anything that you want to do. So you don't have to take risks. You've got a major decision right now. If you wanted to try and go for the tech fall, you're going to have to put yourself in some jeopardy, try and get a couple, 3 more takedowns.
I think I just took a scan down the 2 benches to look at how the wrestlers are feeling, and you just look at the demeanor of the NC State wrestlers that have not competed yet or have previously competed, And they just look like what in the world has this been? And then the Ohio State wrestlers just look as relaxed and calm. And
well, so far, you got NC State's got 2 wins. They got 1 expected win. There's another good lift and mat return from Fishback. And they got 1 upset win. But they are down 12 points heading into this match at 184 pounds. If Fishback holds on here, there's a stall warning on the bottom man. If Fishback wins this match, it's going to put the duel out of reach for NC State. And then it's just each individual match is wrestling for themselves while the dual meet is decided.
And there's some prognosticators, to your point, that when they looked, and we looked at it the same way, where this was so even coming into today, and then you just see what Ohio State has been able to string together.
Another stall call. I'll give another point to Fishback. But, we talked about this before the broadcast. We talked about it in the open of the broadcast. The range of outcomes for this duel were pretty wide.
It's huge.
You could see, just based on it just goes strictly by the rankings. Fishback finishes off a very impressive 12-1 major decision victory here over Don Cates. And that will secure the duel for Ohio State as they go up 22-6. But you look at the rankings on paper, it could have been a blowout for Ohio State, or NC State with some upsets could have won the duel.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
We'll see what he can do here tonight.
Oh, here's one where you just take that overall score and you just crumple it up and dump it, because these two, as you said, this could be a national championship preview.
Contrast in body styles here as well. Feldman, stockier, more powerfully built, and Trumble is a tall heavyweight with a lot of length.
See that brace on Trumble's knee. His head coach described it as that knee was totally shot last year. It got torn up in the quarterfinals against Hendricks. And then Trumble's view and Trumble's mindset was, well, I have to get it fixed anyway. I might as well just keep rolling this as far as I can.
Got an unsportsmanlike call on the corner there for NC State. They have used their challenge brick in this match. They wanted a takedown there near the out-of-bounds line, and they can't challenge it. Pat Papalizio, though, certainly wanted to give the head official his opinion on the matter.
And no challenge bricks, no problem. I'll let them know anyway.
You don't throw your vocal cords out there.
And also with Trumble, he was the alternate for the Olympics too, which is a rare feat nowadays here in the NCAAs. There aren't that many around the country that can say that or are still competing.
Finished runner-up to Kyle Snyder in the trials. Of course, Snyder, the former Buckeye heavyweight. Put together a spectacular international career, and now Trumble looking to finish that takedown. He's got it. Up 3-0 here in the first period.
An early statement from Isaac Trumble, the 6th year, native of Nebraska.
You see him just trying to bump out of bounds there to make sure that Feldman would have got back to his feet and was not able to get to the escape. Wait. You hear the way both of these coaches talked about the opposing heavyweight. There is so much respect for the opponent in this match from each coaching staff.
For sure. And Nick Feldman, he was described very level-headed, extremely level-headed on and off the mat. He's going to need it now.
Quick sit out, but there again, that's again the length of Trumble throwing a leg in, which is not a common practice at heavyweight. Trumble is not built like a typical heavyweight, though. It looks like a 184-pounder that you just click the expand button on your screen.
Yeah, it looked like in Madden, where you just
enlarge it.
Yeah, just keep making him a little bit bigger.
And now he's got Feldman spread out down on the mat. That's a tough spot. Feldman, though, with that power, right back to a sit out. And again, Trumble does a good job Throwing that leg across just enough to get the pressure turned back over, and Feldman back on his chest. Different challenge in that position at heavyweight than it is at the lighter weights. You've got a lot more humanity to try and move off of you.
30 seconds remaining.
And this is, this match is a long way from being over. Sit out, turn in from Feldman, gets back to his seat. Gets back to his feet, rather. But one of the coaching areas Ohio State's going to pick up from this exchange is what Feldman needs to do on bottom there to avoid those boots coming in once he gets to a sit-out position.
And that's a category that they've already been working on him on, that they felt they've seen a lot of improvement in, too.
Yes.
Works very closely with Bo Jordan as we go to the end of the first period. Just a 2-point margin right now.
Bo Jordan, the heaviest of the coaches on the staff in terms of working with the upper weights. He was 165, 174 during his college days here at Ohio State. Logan Stieber, Jay Jaggers, both the 140 range when they were wrestling. Now Feldman on top to begin the second period. Trumble very quickly to his feet, is able to get out and go up 4-1. Feldman, for a heavyweight, has a pretty good attack rate. He attempts a lot of takedowns per match, and he's going to have to do that to get back into this one, no doubt about it. So far, in the first period, it seemed like the length of Trumble was giving him some trouble. He's going to have to find a way to get past that head-hands defense and find a way to the legs.
I wonder if that, you think back to a year ago when these met and it was a Trumble victory. Just that, how do you handle that length when you're not as long? You don't have those pterodactyl limbs.
Well, you have to find a way past. I mean, what Trumble can do now, when he reaches those arms out, you make contact there. It's a long way from that position to get to those legs. So you have to get some lateral movement sideways or some downward snap pressure there to get that opponent to come back up and clear the way to the legs, because that's Feldman's attack. He's not a guy that uses a lot of upper body type stuff. He's got shots. He shoots a lot from distance, but again, in a situation like this with such a long opponent who's got hands that can get to your shoulders before you can get to his legs, that makes your distance shots much less effective.
That's a long way to go, especially when you have the full attention of Trumble. You almost have to shock him somehow.
Yeah.
And move his eyes.
Trumble's been just holding more ground here in the second period. He was more aggressive in the first.
He's got that lead, and he's grown it. Now, Feldman likes to get a chance to get an escape point coming out of this, going into the third period, but it's still a 3. The lead is 3 for Isaac Trumble. Trying to paint the silver lining for NC State in what's been a tough night overall.
Interesting decision here for Feldman, and he's going to take neutral.
Oh.
So a takedown here ties the match, whereas an escape and a takedown, well, there's the shot, but also Trumble's got riding time right now, so that's another reason he was able to be effective on his feet. Feldman's in on that shot, but there again,
Trumble's got him locked too.
Trumble's got locked in the crotch, and he's able to create leverage, even from distance, because of how strong and long he is. Feldman able to keep that hip to the mat. And you see there with Trumble able to reach underneath and keep a hold of that ankle for Feldman, make sure that Nick is not able to create any forward pressure or momentum, and now it's just back to your feet.
See just some of the defensive wrestling here by Trumble too, where Feldman was just right there. Took a shot, and Trumble was able to just effectively stall it out in a good way.
It's true at all weights, but more so at heavyweight. You can manage a lead. Trumble certainly has I don't want to say been passive here in the second period, but less active. Now he's in on a shot. Feldman looking to go behind there, has the leg elevated.
Trumble trying to hang on.
A lot of time, but not a lot of room. And out of bounds is the call. That's a win for Trumble, getting that action out of bounds, getting back to a neutral position.
I'll tell you, there are about 4 NC State fans that are sitting right where he got pushed out that were very happy. While the rest of the Covelli Center is threatening to explode if Feldman can make a move.
Yeah, he's got about 20 seconds for a takedown to break riding time.
He just took a peek over at his coaches at the time. Got to happen now.
Riding time is locked in, so it's going to take more than a takedown for Feldman here in the final 15.
Does Feldman have any late magic? No, he doesn't, but Ohio State overall dominant. Just dominant. This just incandescently hot start to the season by Ohio State continues as they mowed down another highly ranked opponent.
Yeah, beautiful performance by the Buckeyes tonight. They take 7 of the 10 matches against these NC State Wolfpack wrestlers, each team with a on-paper upset.